One of the things I remember most about John is a comment that he frequently made, and that was to always remember that the hospital, the healthcare system, belong to the people. That the reason we are there is to serve the people, to serve the patients, and that it is because of them that we have a job, and we need to always remember that they're our customers.
I've known of John Ferguson, it seems like all my life. We grew up not far from each other, but actually had never met. I'd heard about his athletic prowess in high school and then even going on to Georgia Tech playing football there.
I met John Ferguson in 1998. A mutual acquaintance, actually an employee here at the health system, introduced us, um, and we had a series of meetings where we talked to and understood kind of what they were looking for, what the vision was here, and he ultimately hired me, which was great because we were coming back close to home. But the opportunity to really work for John and learn under his leadership was just a real privilege. Looking back 20 years later, it was more of a privilege and a blessing than I realized at the time.
I moved to Gainesville as a radiation oncology physician, cancer physician in 1975, and actually first met John, who had not too long before that accepted the position of administrator of the hospital. I was very impressed early on with John, how personable he was, how approachable he was. I was very impressed that the medical staff really strongly respected John and his decisions, some of which could be very difficult at times.
My dad is just a person, but he's accomplished great things because he's focused on great things, and that's service for others and also the vision, the foresight to see what's going to happen, how to best handle something. It's a joke because my whole entire family knows that whenever you ask my dad for advice, he's right. Whether you like it or not, he's right. And actually, it's gotten to a point where I don't have to ask him. I'm sure my sisters will say the same thing. You don't have to ask because you can just sit there, and it's kind of like a "what would Jesus do" thing. It's what would Dad think, and you go, oh, I know what he'd say.
I think by any measure that you look at John's career at Northeast Georgia Health System, you'd have to say it was a tremendous success. He accomplished many things. The growth was phenomenal during the time. We had great profitability, and we served our community. In fact, what John did was really set the stage for what Carol Burrell and others are able to do today, and they have done phenomenal things with the base that John laid for them for the 40 years that he was there.
There's still people that they remember Dad. They say how wonderful and they miss him and the impact they had and how nice he was. And when his dad died, I'll never forget, we were at the funeral, in Clarksville, and a couple of people that used to work at the hospital, they showed up, and I was like, Dad, look, wow, so-and-so's there. And he remembered their name. I go, you made such an impact on so many people's lives. And that was so cool for me to watch. And so I was always very proud of him, and it just made me smile just to see, all what he did. But the visionary that he was, he just always was just one step ahead.
Because he was an incredibly visionary man. He painted me a picture when he asked me to come to work for him of what he saw happening over the next 25 years. I couldn't imagine some of those things, but without exception, they've all come to pass. Now, he would be quick to tell you that many people were involved in that and that the progress continues.
Northeast Georgia Health System has certainly received a number of recognitions and awards on a state and national level. As I look back over the course of the history of Northeast Georgia Health System, I can't help but acknowledge the impact that John Ferguson's leadership had on where we are today. I often like to say that I'm standing on the shoulders of those who came before us, with John at the top of that list. This community, this region, is indebted to John Ferguson for that visionary leadership back many, many years ago, and for that we will be eternally grateful.
In the community, as we got to know the community, I could tell he was a huge part of that. He was very much a leader in the community, and the leaders of the community really, really respected everything John was doing. Over the years, I think largely related to John's hard work and moving us forward, the hospital has grown tremendously, and I've kind of seen all that happen. It's just looked with amazement, and he's made this hospital one of the best hospitals in the country.
It might be hard for him to accept awards like this because he is humble. He's not going to sit there and think he deserves something like this, but everybody around him right now knows that he does, in fact, deserve this.
John and I shared several passions other than the hospital, and one of them was bird hunting. John and I both loved quail hunting, spent a good bit of time doing that, and did a good bit of it together that we really enjoyed. But I learned early on that when we went, we needed to go in my car because where we went always involved having to have breakfast, and John wouldn't let you chew chewing gum in his car, much less eat a ham biscuit or a sausage biscuit and drink coffee in it. So we always took my car, but we had a great time when we went. John was a phenomenal shot and good company.
We are very proud. And then we all go of you. Okay, ready? Okay, try that.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Go.
What?
We love
You.
Dad.
No.
We love you, Dad. We're so proud of you.